How was it?
Very enjoyable. Yes, it was a bit. I felt the audience was much closer to me than I thought it was. So when I was trying to concentrate, I could definitely see people's faces on my right side of the corner, which took a bit of time to adjust to, I have to say. But
Were they reacting
I
enthusiastically?
didn't want to notice that any further because that will further hinder my concentration. I was just trying to think of the music, and I tried to close my eyes a few times.
And lots of cameras as well. Right.
Yes, they were less bothersome, I think.
That's great. Tell me, how did you think about composing the program of the first stage, but maybe of the all rounds of the competition?
The first stage is very prescribed, so you kind of just have to pick one piece from each category, and I wanted to try and find something that had elegance and also this real sense of poetry, as well as, of course, the virtuoso etude at the end. The second and third rounds, I wanted to do a bit of interesting programming with pieces that are not often played, so that would include, for example, first of all, the Opus 9 No. 2 Nocturne in E flat major, which is a very popular piece, but with variants discovered in Chopin's pupils' scores and markings that Chopin himself wrote onto the thing. So that is definitely something that I think is very interesting. Hopefully the audience will enjoy hearing that. Then there's the Mazurka in F minor, Opus 68 No. 4, his very last piece, so frail and very close to death in some ways, which I think is an extraordinary work and so chromatic. And then, of course, the Opus 2 variations, which we go back in time to the very beginning of Chopin's life, where the piece that marked his career start.
You chose 2 etudes in the first round, which is quite rare.
Well, I know a lot of people will be choosing the nocturnes, but the E major etude really speaks to me. It's one of the most. I mean, Chopin himself said, "Have I ever written a more beautiful melody?" It's just such a beautiful, beautiful work, and I think there's so much poetry and interest in the music. So I wanted to show this to everybody.
You're a very experienced pianist, but also you're a composer. How does it influence you as a performer, as a pianist?
I think it gives me extra insight into the composer's exact notes, because as a composer myself, I'm doing building blocks and putting together pieces of music, and it's very interesting to bring that perspective to Chopin and to hear how he's also, bringing music together. And of course, when you compose music, you get an extra insight into being a performer, which gives you kind of an additional kind of dimension to interpreting other people's pieces.
Do you also improvise?
I improvise a lot. I improvise usually at the end of all of my concerts, where I invite the audience to give me a tune and to give me a style. It could be something like Ode to Joy in the style of, Scott Joplin, Chopin Barcarolle in the style of Ludovico Einaudi, or Andrew Lloyd Webber, or rock and roll or something. The possibilities are endless, and that's what I love to do, to create something spontaneous on the spur of the moment.
So you seem like a very open-minded musician. For artists like this, it's quite difficult to fit in the world of competitions, right? How do you, combine all these things?
I think it's important to view, for example, playing Chopin. It's an incredibly important part of my life, but it's just a part. There's, the 2 other sides of me as a musician and artist, as a creator, a composer and an improviser. And that, I think that's a very important part of my personality. And I'm sure, hopefully, those 2 components will also seep through a little bit.
Yeah. Thank you so much and good luck.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Konkurs Chopinowski w Polskim Radiu.